All right, guys. What is happening? Welcome back. Been a little bit here, close to a month, to the Bucher's Batch of Boys Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am joined, as always, by Brendan. What's up, Brendan?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Good to have you, buddy. First pod appearance of the year. Super excited.
Yeah, feeling good. Feeling good.
Hell yeah. We also have Griffin making his return.
Am I co-host? Is that my role? Or am
You
I
are.
guest?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Welcome. Hello.
And then we have our color guy. What's up, Raymond?
Hey guys, what's up?
Bring in the color. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, real quick, I mean, it's Brendan's first time being on, I think, in close to a year. So, Brendan, how do you feel so far this year? Going the way you wanted to go? How'd the auction go? Keepers, all that good stuff. Anything you want to share before we get started?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. It's a tale of two sides for me. My pitching has been awesome. My hitting has really stunk. I mean, I hope my like guys like Gunnar and Jose Ramirez, and even though Tani hasn't been him, I'm basically a team of Jordan Alvarez. So
Man, he's
in
been good.
pitching, he's been great.
He's been
I'm
incredible.
just waiting. I'm waiting for his 10th game of outfield. He's got nine.
Yeah.
We're going to free on my roster.
And I'll take the over probably on Jose Ramirez and Gunnar hitting sub 200 or over. If they at 200, they're around there, I know.
Yeah.
They'll come up. Raymond, your first one in a while, too. How you feeling?
Oh yeah, exactly how I drew it up. Um, they're doing great. Yeah, I just carved my way out of last place, I think yesterday. I think Kyle was ahead of me for a brief second there, which is pretty embarrassing considering half his team is in the minor leagues. Um, yeah, no, it's been rough. It's a long season. I'm trying to stay optimistic. I woke up the other day just like so frustrated. I was like, I'm gonna do a hard sell. I'm just gonna like blow it all up. And then I made a couple of moves and then I was like, oh, my team's not that bad. So I
Now we're buying.
might revert back to a soft sell, but I don't know. Take the KJ approach, except lighter. I mean, he's making moves like trading for Bo Bichette, who's not really much of a keeper. You can kind of zigzag between buying keepers and selling keepers. Ultimately, you just want to end up with a better team at the end of the year. So I'm both buying and selling, guys. So hit me up for trades.
I was running quite the buy low, sell high. Or like the
Yeah,
thing, I feel like it's kind of what he's doing too, where it's like, let me get this guy, turn this guy into this guy, turn this guy into this guy, and then turn this into a blue
yeah.
keeper.
He's doing a great job at it.
You bring up being annoyed by Kyle catching you basically, similar to Brendan. I thought I had a lot of power, and I think I'm now in second or third from the bottom. I haven't looked today, but I believe on Friday or maybe even Saturday, just in the last couple of days, I was tied with Kyle in home runs for the bottom, even though, like you said, he's not playing a full lineup, and I had played literally 300 games more than him. So it's
Jordan Walker effect.
yeah, James Wood, Jordan Walker. It's early, but it's not that early anymore. We're like a quarter of the way through.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah,
let's get
it's even
to.
better. I'm three quality starts behind Kyle right now, so
I hope Kyle wins. That'd be fun.
Well, I texted Kyle the other day. I have two bold predictions for the season. Nick, me, you, and Kyle made, or me, yeah, me and Kyle made one of those bets. I don't want to
Out it.
spill those
Say it. Say
beans.
it. Let's say it so we can get Griffin and Brendan's opinion.
Okay. Um, One of my bold predictions was that the current first place team finishes outside of the top three. And then my other bet is that Kyle does not finish in last place.
Why won't you name the
And
current first place team? He's not Voldemort.
I don't want to get an angry text later this week.
He's a hater. Fair. Yeah, I
Yeah,
said he'd probably finish in the top three. I feel pretty good about it, but anything can
yeah,
happen. It's still early.
yeah.
What do you guys think? Is Mark Minnis going to finish top three? Brendan Griff?
Go out on a limb and say yeah.
yeah, I'll say yeah. Unless he mismanages it, but that'd be pretty hard to do. I think he's got it.
And
Or Aaron Judge gets hurt.
yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Raymond,
Or Liam Hicks stopping God.
you
We'll keep
definitely
him
made a
open.
friend out of Kyle. You've gotten Kyle's love, I think, by saying he won't be last. But you have to make an enemy. Who's going to be last if it's not Kyle?
Um, do I have to name names?
Yeah, of
It'd
course.
be Charlie, right? He picked Charlie, wouldn't he?
I'm gonna say Miz.
Oh,
Yeah, which I
just
realize is spicy,
bulletin
but
board material, Mark.
I think Miz is might commit to the sell pretty soon, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, just like my conversations with him. And I think once he does, um, he's not going to have like Jordan Walker and James Wood and Chorio propping him up the rest of the season. I think the stars that Kyle accumulated are good enough to compensate for only having half a team.
I think it's
So
weird to say.
yeah.
Kyle Brendan's doing the best rebound or rebuild, I think, pardon me, since probably yours a couple years ago. The one time you sort of sold and immediately built a blue chip chest full of stars.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. It'll be fun to see the next couple years going. I like people following in my footsteps. It feels good.
We call it the Brendan.
It means I had a good idea.
Yep.
Good
Well, all
job.
right, without further ado, again, we have a million trades. So, Griff, I think you and I will take this first big one since the last trade here. We're easing our way into this. This one was Wyatt Langford, Braxton Ashcraft, and Kyle Tucker for Shohei Ohtani, Connolly Early, Colton Cowser. Griffin, you used to be the Ohtani guy. You're not anymore. What do you think? Neither is Raymond now.
Well, for one, I'm jealous with how much more Raymond got than I got for him. But it's nice because it keeps both Raymond and I as the only people who have traded him away. So we kind of talked about that. I would say it seems reasonable to me. Um, Kind of come down. You get Kyle Tucker, who is first round bat, keepable, kind of on the higher end, but just elite talent, I think. He's kind of struggled this year, but I mean, the track record. And then at the time you get Wyatt Langford, he was coming back from his injury, wasn't he? And like right after this deal, he had a setback or
Yeah,
went on
he
the
was coming
IL.
back from his first injury.
So when this trade went down, I feel like I had a higher opinion of him, but I think it ends up being fair. It also hurts that Connolly Early just had a great start and looks pretty legit, but I'll say it's reasonable.
I think that's a pretty good point. I would say it looks worse now that Langford had a setback, still hurt, and Early has been probably better than I would have guessed. We thought, although obviously you like him if he's involved in the trade, of course.
Also, Ashcraft looks better than he did at the time, so that kind of evens out.
Yeah, yeah, they've both been really good, honestly. I agree with you too, Griff. I think even though Tucker's got, I think a slowish start for Tucker, numbers are a little bit worse metrics wise too, but he's such a proven guy. I know the injury last year maybe you worry a little bit, or I guess 2 years ago with the Astros, and then a little bit of a power outage second half. But I think he's still, like you said, a mid to late first round caliber player, especially in the Dodgers lineup. It's not a huge downgrade offensively, uh, as much as it really would be. Just go Tani besides Judge is one of the best offensive players, if not the Tucker's not a huge, huge downgrade. I think it's a decent return. I love it from Brendan though. I mean, Otani's just such a cheat code. Brendan, Raymond, how'd this happen?
This was so long ago and so many trades ago, I forgot who reached out to who first.
Well, you put Otani on the block.
Yes, yes.
At that
Yeah,
point,
that's
I
right.
think I was just tired of your block updates saying you need an outfielder.
Well, now you don't because you're trying to get rid of Robert.
Now
Yeah.
I need an outfielder. Really bad, actually. That's the irony of it all.
Yeah. So yeah, I woke up feeling spicy that day, I guess, and I put Otani on the trade block, and I fielded a couple of offers, some terrible, some good, and Brendan's really stuck out. Um, I had a high opinion of Langford until a couple of weeks ago. He's somebody that I think can go like 35, hit 280, get a bunch of MVP votes, and be keepable for the next like 5+ years. And obviously Tucker's the stud. So I calculated Otani to be, I think, $150 player in this format, assuming he both pitches and hits. And Tucker was like 80 and Langford was like 55. Um, and I thought there was like $20 surplus. I don't know. I thought it was even because I'm getting extra keeper value with Langford and Tucker's a little cheaper. So there's a discount for that needed to be factored in. And all those things considered, I thought it was a good deal. Plus, I really needed an outfielder at the time, and I'm also very bullish on Braxton Ashcraft.
You look good.
Yeah, so I mean, Early's also a stud. I remember Brendan specifically asking, like, "Hey, I need Early back as well." I was like, "Damn, he's onto my guy," but I wasn't going to let the deal fall through because of that.
Can I ask real quick? I like the numbers you mentioned. You ran some value. Was that assuming Otani plays offensively the days he's pitching, or the way he has been this year not doing? So I'm just curious.
No, if you account for that and remove, I think, what is it, like 1/6 of his at bats,
Yeah.
the 45 homers becomes 37 homers, and so on and so on. So he becomes like a $130 player.
So basically,
Um,
you kind of rugged Brendan here. It sounds like then.
but also on the flip side, you're getting that extra roster spot. So you need to probably add like $10 to $15 for that. So he's such a cheat code and he's such a hard guy to value. But that was my evaluation of him, like $150.
That's helpful. I appreciate it. You guys have anything else here?
I was just curious if was it real that you got offers for with Bobby Witt and I forget what Nick said the one like did people actually offer those things?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Zach
I
offered me
love this
Bobby
conversation.
Witt, and Nick offered me Terang and either Alonso or Vlad.
What
I'm
do you
flattered.
think, that, Brendan? Do you think that's comparable to your offer? Because he said yours stood out.
I mean, now that Langford is dead and Kyle Tucker's no longer on my team, I kind of wish I had Bobby Witt at this point in time. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. Things change fast in this game.
Yeah.
I still think it was a good trade, and I walked away thinking like we both got better from that trade.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right. Well, equally as big. I saw that the very next day. I made my big move. Troy Johnson for Rico Garcia. So it's a 1-for-1, but just as much value, arguably changing hands here. Raymond, I'll let you go first. Anything on it?
No, nothing really on it. Yeah, nothing on it. Are both of these players still even owned?
I've had Troy the whole
Oh
time.
yeah, Enrico's the closer.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rico's getting saves right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
is he? He's well,
and
he
who
has a
knows
blind
how
spot
long
tonight.
Helsley's out, elbow stuff.
Okay. All right. Good for Stan the Man. Stan the Man won that deal.
No, I strongly disagree. I'm
Yeah,
gonna come down strong. I strongly think the Troy Johnson side won because Stan dropped Rico Garcia and then Roman picked them up. So
Oh.
yeah, that's the only reason.
yeah. Rico is definitely more valuable now than he was then. That was also obviously back in mid-April before he had put together as much dominance as he had. But yeah, I mean, I needed kind of like you guys both just said. I needed an outfielder. I think at that point. we have so many we can just glaze over this one unless anybody else has anything else.
Nothing else.
Let's keep it moving then. Next up here, 2 days later, we have you back in the fold, Raymond. Cam Schlittler for Jackson Holiday and Jacob Mizorowski. Let's go to you first, Brendan. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting one. I think I like it a lot for both sides. Certainly, like I mean, I, I don't know that I agree. I haven't looked so hard into it, but if Raymond thinks Schlittler is better than Mizorowski, and at the time I think he was hoping to be in the money, it makes perfect sense to try to get the better player and use Jackson Holiday, who's injured and may or may not continue to be valuable, and it makes perfect sense for Nick to get a pitcher who's probably of similar value and get Jackson Holiday for him. So, of course, I think Nick's higher up in the standings than I expected him to be.
Yeah.
So that's great for him. It made sense both sides to me.
You think so too, Griff?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I feel like Schlittler versus Mizorowski. I mean, it comes down to your personal opinion on them. Like, I think if you think they're even, then you just got Jackson Holiday for free. But if you think Schlittler is a true upgrade, then you paid a relatively expensive young guy on the aisle. So I think it's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, we'll make it a clean sweep. I think Schlittler's like a half a tier above Mizorowski personally, but I'm not married to it. And I think Holiday's, like Brendan said, kind of the exact right sort of guy. Starting to get kind of pricey. Coming back from injury wasn't helping you right now. Still not back, unfortunately, but could come back and be valuable. There's very many scenarios where he becomes a significant surplus again for a year or two. And if he's not, I don't think Mizorowski's for sure that much worse than Schlittler. Raymond, did you feel very strongly Schlittler's a lot better? Is that why you made it, or did you kind of agree with what we're saying?
I was pestering knew Nick for like a month. Like as soon as the draft ended, I was trying to get Schlittler on my team. I'm very high on him. I think he's already a top 10 pitcher and he has the potential to be a top 5 pitcher by year's end. I mean, I think he's already Cy Young favorite in the AL with Skubal going down. Um, I think he's really good. I also think Mizurowski is like a stud. Like he can get 300 Ks, and I think one of these seasons, and I think they're both gonna end up with a lot of Cy Young votes throughout their career. I just think that I don't know what prompted me to offer Mizurowski was I was watching a game, and he was pulled like really early and like 70 pitches in, and he was pitching fine, and he like allowed one walk, and the Brewers coaching staff was like, all right, he's out. And I just didn't kind of, that made me feel like he wasn't ready to ascend yet this year to, acehood. But I think he's knocking on the door, and you know, I think Schlittler has like full trust of the Yankees staff at this point. Um, Also, I like consolidating players I have in the AL League, or we have in the AL League, Nick. Schiller's been our one good player. Holiday's been annoying me in that league, his setbacks. So I just kind of wanted to dump him, free up an IL spot. Um, but I think ultimately it's a good trade for both of us.
I think it's a pretty astute point. I mean, I think back
Yeah.
to when I had him last year and the year that playoff game, he had full trust to go deep into it. He was dealing. He's been dealing so far this
Yeah.
year, going deep in games. And if Mizurowski is going to be a 4 or 5 inning guy, less wins, no quality starts, or less quality starts, I'll follow you.
And to be clear, I think Miz's upside is higher. I mean, I think he's just like a pitcher built in a lab. He can get, I don't know, if he gets his command in control, he can pitch like 220 plus innings and get like 350 Ks. Like I think he's just so freaking good.
I mean, like you
And
said, I
like,
think he has like over 70 in 40 innings or something like that so far. He's been no.
yeah, he's ridiculous, man. He's so good.
All right.
So
Well,
One real quick thing. It's funny to hear him talking about trading Mizurowski off of a 76 pitch outing. We'll get into it later, but there was a pitcher he just traded coming off of a 78 pitch outing.
nice.
We'll
I
touch
just
on it in a
traded.
later trade.
Okay.
That's called a building suspense. I appreciate that, Griff. That's good for the viewers. All right.
Jansen junk.
Let's keep this as a Raymond show here because then we have Raymond and Mark's dad. What's up? Stand the man. So we have a 3-for-1 here. You don't see a ton of those in this league. A 3-for-1. O'Neill Cruz for Lawrence Butler, Emilio Pagan, and Zach Wheeler. Griff, let's go to you first. What
So
happened?
I think at the time I thought it was pretty fair with like not knowing what O'Neill Cruz is going to be. But I feel like now you look at it, Pagan's dead. Butler hasn't been that great, I don't think. And I think Wheeler's been decent in his like 2 or 3 starts, but Cruz just keeps hitting home runs, so it's like now I'd easily rather have Cruz. I mean, I don't know how much I believe in it, but he just hit what his like 10th home run today, so it just feels like he's gonna just keep crushing home runs, even if average won't be there. So I think now I'd rather have Cruz.
Got 15, 16 seals to go with it too, I think.
15, yeah.
Yeah. Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, O'Neill Cruz guaranteed for pretty great counting numbers, at least in home runs and stolen bases. I think if I remember correctly at the time, Zach Wheeler was still rehabbing and Davila was down, right?
A lot, yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
I think that scared. I know I was tuned into it. It scared me. So I wonder if it scared Raymond at the same time. And it's obviously ticked back up once he got back from the majors. So I just be interested to hear Raymond's thought on that.
He was Luis Robert before Luis Robert, Raymond, because I feel like we talked a lot about him too, and we were both kind of spooked about the Vila.
Yeah. I just randomly offered this to Jack, and I was surprised when he accepted. But I was actively shopping both Pagan and Wheeler to many people in this league, and I was, to Brandon's point, I was spooked by Wheeler's velo. Pagan was getting shelled, or he just like looked terrible, and there were, I knew either Ashcraft or Santillan was right on his tail for that closer gig. And Butler just wasn't performing well. So, I was thinking gee, was, that year he had 2 or 3 years ago, a mirage, and is this just who he is? I don't know. We'll see by the end of the season. But I just felt like there was a lot of uncertainty, and I needed to make moves to divest some of that risk because I didn't want Wheeler to come back and he just throws 90 miles per hour and he has like a 5 ERA by year's end and he's $37. That's not that's no value. That hurts me more than anything. So I just randomly offered that, and I was surprised he accepted. Um, Now Zach Wheeler's been awesome, so I'm glad it's worked out, and hopefully Butler finds his footing again. But even though, spoiler, Butler was traded for Torkelson, so I hope Torkelson by association contributes to his team as well.
I think you're making a real point there. Anytime you
Yeah.
can get safer commodities, because like you said, there's risk with Wheeler, uncertainty with Pagan and Butler. I think someone safe like O'Neal Cruz makes a ton of sense. I mean, that's
I mean,
probably
also like
baseball.
O'Neal Cruz and safe in the same sentence is also a bit ironic because he could also just hit like 200 rest of the year. So um, that kind of spooked me into making another move that we'll get to later. But yeah, I that was kind of the thought process behind that offer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. I was just joking around.
Yeah.
I think it's a good.
Honestly, sorry, I was gonna say honestly, every player in this trade spooks me. It's a spooky trade.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bunch of risky players.
dude, you're exactly right. That's what I was gonna say. Is I feel like since it happened, we were saying like, oh, Butler's value is probably lower. Pagan's being dead, he's lower. O'Neal Cruz though probably has the most upside. If it's not Zach Wheeler, it's probably O'Neal Cruz. And Wheeler is obviously showing he's spooking up. O'Neal Cruz has stayed spooking up. So I don't know. I don't
Real,
think it's terrible, but I definitely like your side of it.
real quick, last 30 days for Cruz. I think you can like multiply these by five to get like full season. He has 20 runs, 5 home runs, 13 steals, 240, and a 720 OPS. So he might
Sign
just
me
have
up.
bad averages and just crazy counting stats.
Sign me.
What's his average over that time?
241.
I think you'd lock that in if you own O'Neal Cruz, especially with those counting stats, right? Like that's spectacular.
Yeah.
On pace for like 70 steals.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Get out of this Raymond trade situation we've been in here. They've all been basically him. Get back to Brendan. Little 1-for-1 challenge trade. Two starting pitchers: Robbie Ray for Jesus Luzardo. Raymond, you've been the one involved in much film. You go first this time. What'd you think?
I thought it was a good trade. I think today I'd rather have Ray just because Luzardo's been a little turbulent. Um, I mean, he has a 6 ERA and a 1.4 WHIP. Um, I'm not sure if Uncle Charlie was trying to accumulate keeper value. That's really the only thing that would make sense for me to make that trade. But if he was trying to accumulate keeper value, he certainly did a good job of doing that because I'm very bullish on Luzardo's long-term outlook. I think he has some things to figure out. He's probably just going through a flunk like Kyle Bradish, um, or any other pitcher who's struggling right now. Um, but yeah, it makes sense if he was trying to accumulate keeper value. So
I
I
feel
think it's
strongly,
fair through that context.
pretty strongly. You did great here, Brendan. I think. I mean, Luzardo felt like the most screaming buy low candidate, especially like when you got him. I think one of his last few starts since you got him wasn't great, but that's just kind of who he's been. Is he'll have a couple blow ups. Either he's tipping pitches or just gets in his own head. His underlying numbers before this were great. He's someone who I think either Tuesday or Wednesday that week I made an offer to Charlie for because I felt like he was just such a guy you could maybe get at a reasonable price. He might be turbulent. I think Raymond's right. He is kind of a turbulent guy. And Robbie Ray's not super safe, and he is cheaper. But Luzardo to me feels like a huge slam dunk preference in a way it's like 70-30, probably the strongest I felt about any of the trades.
Oh,
So
I'm just realizing Brendan traded for Luzardo. Okay.
yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Still good trade all around.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. A lot of what Nick said was right, and like Luzardo is seemed like the most obvious buy low candidate. But I think what I've learned about myself is that I'm probably one of the slowest in this league to react to good or bad starts by established players. So it's just the type of move that I really want to make. It's like I know a guy's way better than this.
Yeah.
I I tend to trust those people, and the people that, well, some guys like Luis Robert I don't trust, but Yes, just like I've learned that about myself. I just if you have guys that you don't trust that are off to bad starts, offer them to me. I might trust them.
And I'm sorry, Griff, I skipped over you. How do you feel?
I didn't have any strong opinions. I feel like Jesus Luzardo has been a buy low for so long, and then he just has an outing where he tips pitches. So I have no clue. He could. I don't know. I have nothing.
Yeah. After Lazardo's first start with me, Charlie messaged me. He said, "That was a great start from Lazardo." I said, "Don't worry, he's volatile like that. The next one will be bad." And he's 2 for 3 on good ones.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
Robbie Rivers kind of
wild to me. He has a 6 ERA and a 3 FIP and a 242 xFIP. Um, yeah, these are some crazy numbers.
yeah.
But then he just
12
gave
K
up
per
6 at
nine.
home to Colorado. So
Oh my gosh.
That's baseball. All right, well, that was starter for starter challenge trade. Here's a shortstop for shortstop challenge trade. This was me and Miz. Anthony Volpe for Willie Adames. Griffin, I skipped over you by accident last time. I apologize. Griffin, you give us your thoughts here. You go first.
So now I'd rather have Adames since Volpe got sent down, and I think he's struggling at AAA too. Um, at the time, I mean, Adames was also struggling. I saw today he did well, but
He's still struggling. He hasn't been that great.
yeah. So I mean, I guess I'd rather have Adames, but I don't know how to feel about him.
Brendan, what do you think?
yeah, I mean, I sort of a lot of the echo the same thoughts. I still believe in Adamas. I think he'll. I mean, it'll be low batting average. We'll end up with 25 homers and 10 steals or something like that, and decent run production, even though the lineup's bad. I'm not much of a believer in Volpe. Um, so I don't know. I guess I didn't see huge upside from his here, but if he did put it all together, you're looking at 2020 with decent counting stats. That makes a lot of sense for him. So yeah, it makes sense both sides.
Raymond, I know you're itching to share a strong opinion here. What do you think?
I think if all things click for Volpe, he can be Willie Adames. That's kind of what I think of Volpe, like a 230, 240 hitter with like 30 home runs and 15 stolen bases. Probably more upside on the stolen bases, but I don't know. I'd much rather have Willie Adames. I remember owning him at the beginning of last year, and I was incredibly frustrated with him because he started off really slow. I dealt him, and then I looked at his end of year numbers, and he was, pretty damn serviceable, like 25 home runs, 15 steals, and like
Yeah,
a
30
240
runs.
average. Yeah, I mean, I think by year's end, he'll be a pretty good contributor to your team. Um, then Volpe is just in a weird place, I think. I mean, it seems like he's lost trust of Yankees coaching staff. Hopefully he gets traded to like Colorado or MC or something and figures it out. It's a bunch of bumps for Miz, but um, yeah, I didn't care for it then, and I definitely don't care for it.
You don't care for
Miz.
either side? Wait, what do you mean?
No, for Miz's side, for
Oh, for
Miz's
Miz.
side.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I might have misheard you. All right, yeah. I mean, I think you guys are pretty much right. I made the trade. I think Adamas is going to help me more right now. I thought it was unlikely Volpe would be option, to be honest. I thought he was going to come back and maybe just wouldn't play every day. But
Yeah.
he's definitely, I mean, he's also a dollar, whereas Adamas is, I think, pushing 20. So there's more scenarios probably even now where Volpe is a huge surplus. But I'm happy with how it turned out, I guess.
He has a 276 OBP in the minors this year.
That sucks. I mean, I joke all the time about him specifically that he had chicken parm that one time and it fixed him for a month, and then he got a torpedo bat and that fixed him for a month. But it's crazy how steady he just is every year he's been in the big leagues at the first three, right? Like the average and OPS basically end up in the same place. And you'd think when he came up so young, he'd take a slight step forward, just become like a low 700s OPS, like a 240-ish, 250-ish average, give you a ton of speed. It still probably is in there, right? He's not that old, but
Mhm.
to your guy's point, I mean, if he loses the trust of the Yankees, he isn't playing every day, and I felt like that was the real reason I did it. A little bit worried that might not. He'd have to come back and have a good start to take away the job fully from Caballero.
But Euro's been good.
Yeah, well, I feel like he really turned it on like the week before Volpe came back, basically.
Yeah.
I think that week before he was really hot and he's maintained it. All right, let's keep it moving here. Finally, a trade no one here is in. Nice. Not too many of those. Rafael Devers for Michael Bush and Edward Cabrera. This is Eric and Zach, two new guys getting involved in some trades on this pod. Raymond, you're up first. What do you think?
Yeah, I remember I saw this trade go down and I immediately texted Zach like, "Yo, great trade. You totally won that one." But sitting here like 2 weeks later, I'm like, Devers kind of scares me. I mean, like, you know, it, if I had a set of rankings, listed, written down somewhere, I think Devers would be moving down quite a bit. I think Michael Bush, like, there's, I don't know, pretty good chance that Michael Bush ends up with better year-end numbers than Devers. Um, Cabrera has been kind of going through a skid a little bit. I think he had not so great of a start last start, but I mean he's a great like number three or number four in my opinion. He's going to get a ton of wins on the Cubs, good Ks, and should have a decent ERA by year's end. So 2 weeks later, I think I'd rather have Bush and Cabrera to be completely honest, especially with the keeper value that they both have.
Yeah. What do you think, Brennan?
Yeah, I think I echo that opinion, although I'll say that I do still believe in Devers, going back to my point earlier. But yeah, I think maybe Edward Cabrera is the piece most want, just like in general in a vacuum, just given price and everything. But I don't know. This one's tough. I think Michael Bush was off to a bad start also, and he's better than that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion.
Griff, where do you land?
So I mean, just with how I generally value guys, I'd rather have Bush and Cabrera, just because I like the cheap guys. Because I mean, one thing is if Devers struggles, it's like you make this deal and I just feel horrible and like I'm anxious. But if I trade for Michael Bush, I'm like, okay, he's gonna turn it around. I'm gonna keep him next year and he'll be fine. So it's like just conceptually, I'd rather have maybe tear down a guy, but have some keeper value there. So I take Eric's side.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of in the same spot, I guess. I think maybe closer to Brendan, I do still believe in Devers, even though a lot of the numbers have just been worse. Like, and we're a quarter of the way through now. It feels to me like I think it was either last year or before he was striking out at an absurd rate for the first month or so, and then he just kind of got it back together. I don't think this is just going to be his MO forever, but I feel like he will normalize more than he has so far. And when he does, his upside is still really, really high. But I get it. I mean, I'd still probably slightly take Eric's side personally if I had to pick, just because I don't think Bush is that much of a downgrade based on what we saw last year, even though he's had a bit of a power outage this year. And Cabrera is really solid too, and they're both got some long term value there. It's one of the rare times I feel like I would probably take the two and a two for one side, but I think it's really solid. Like, and if you told me Devers just becomes a top 15 hitter the rest of the way, or top 20, even top 25, I'm not shocked at all. You want to try to bang out in 90 seconds here, guys? Luis Castillo for Spencer Schwellenbach? Lightning round. All right, Brendan, you first.
I think Zach could have gotten more for Schwellenbach. I'm hoping, as someone who wants to sell Hunter Green, to get better than Luis Castillo for him. But I'm also saying that as someone who I think I've seen Castillo's skills decline for a couple years now, so maybe I'm not a huge believer in him. So it's defensible though.
Yeah. Raymond, where are you?
Totally agree. Um, yeah, echo everything Brennan just said.
Cool. Griff, where you land?
Yeah, give me Schwelly. I think Castillo kind of sucks.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I kind of felt like I was going to be on that stand. I would probably be the most okay with the Castillo get just because Castillo's been a streaky guy in his career. Like Brendan said, it's been 2 or 3 straight years. The skills are worse. I think Seattle hopefully helps hide some of it. He can't be this bad, but now I'm worried a little bit for him that he might lose his rotation spot just because
Yeah,
Peacock's been better than probably the Mariners thought, and pretty soon they're going to have Miller back. So I don't know. And
and
they
Caden
certainly had the
Smith
night.
and Ryan Sloan
Sloan
walking on
looked
the
great in
door.
the Mariners. They could pretty quickly lose a spot for him. But anyway, let's come back in a minute. You're about to lose it. I'll send you guys, or can one of you send an invite out, please?
You want me to?
Yep.
Just
All
so
right, I
I
got
can't
you.
do two
I got
tomorrow.
you.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
All right, see you on the other side.
Peace.
Bye.
Did it?
We did it. All right, guys, welcome back. Let's get back
Hey,
into it. So you can see my screen, correct? Okay.
Yep.
So Let's get right back into it with a Kyle and Missigman one. Another one none of us are in. This is fun. So another 3 for 1. Again, they're not that common, but we got two of them here. Moises Ballesteros, Will Warren, and Jose Fernandez for Manny Machado. I'll go to you first, Griff. What do you think?
So at the time I was pretty gung ho about it. Ballesteros was on a heater. Fernandez was on a pretty good hot streak, and Warren's pretty good. I still like it. I still think Ballesteros is pretty good. I mean, do I see they had him hitting second or third still today?
Yep, hit second.
Um, I still like him. He's 22. He hits the ball well. I mean, it kind of does suck that Michael Conforto the past like 2 or 3 days has been DHing over him when facing a righty, so it's a little confusing there. Um, I mean, I like it for him. I kind of like who Kyle turned Machado into more, maybe, but I've kind of flipped there. So
All right, Brendan, what do you think?
Um, sorry, I'm laughing because Raymond sending me trade offers. um, I like Manny Machado. It's interesting for Kyle to get Manny Machado. Obviously, and the move was obviously to turn him around, hopefully for another bigger keeper, and I think he was successful in doing that. So it made perfect sense for his side. I do like Ballesteros. Will Warren, I think, could be good too. Jose Fernandez, I never understood. Kyle spent a lot of money to get him. I thought it was a flash in the pan, and it probably was, but yeah, I mean, it's cool for Kyle to get Machado and turn him around, and that makes sense. And then hopefully Warren and Ballesteros end up being great pieces for Miz.
Raymond, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think Will Warren is a pretty good pitcher. Going to get a ton of wins. He's getting a ton of Ks so far. That's prospect pedigree. I think he'll be a good keep. Ballesteros is definitely showing that he's a good player, I think. And on the flip side, Kyle getting Machado, gives him the opportunity to try to get more than what he paid for. Buy low, sell high. And he's good at that. So I think it makes sense for both ends here.
Like we were saying, I mean, Kyle paperclip challenge here. Trade some fab dollars for Fernandez, fab dollars for Ballesteros, fab dollars
Yeah.
or a bucket draft budget for Will Warren. Turn that into Machado. Turn Machado into a blue chip keeper or something like that. I think I like it
Mhm.
pretty comfortably. The Machado side, I know he is struggling. I agree with Brendan. The exit velos are really good, and he's not that old. So Fernandez could be something eventually, but I don't really believe personally still. Will Warren's better than I thought he was going to be. He gets a ton of strikeouts, which is impressive, and he's on a great team, so he's going to get wins. I was worried then more than I am at this moment that when Cole and Rodon are both back and in the rotation fully, he could lose his job. I think he's probably going to be okay now, but I think there was a risk there. Um, and Ballesteros is definitely the wild card. I think you guys all kind of said that too. To me, I think the biggest path for a huge chance to make this a win for Miz could still come to fruition. And it was that I think 2 times out of 5 or 6, right around when this happened, Ballesteros was getting games at catcher. And if he had 10 starts at catcher and maybe even 20 somehow just like playing here and there for next year, that becomes really valuable, I think. I don't think he's gotten one since then unless he got one today or yesterday. So maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. He's a worthwhile lottery ticket. I just do kind of think, and it's interesting because I haven't tried to trade Machado. Maybe Miz was getting worse offers than this for Machado. I haven't been the one trying to trade Machado, so I don't know what he was getting in his box for it. But I do sort of feel like you could probably have gotten a little bit more. I like it for Kyle more than I like it for Miz. You guys have anything else? We'll move on.
I think it helps that Ballesteros is like a little fat guy, so when he hit home runs, like it looks kind of impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. I love little fat dudes. 1 for 1 here. Brendan, you're back in the fold, getting involved with Mark's dad. Lawrence Butler for Spencer Torkelson, 1 for 1. Raymond, what do you think?
And I think it's a fair deal. I mean, they both players are struggling right now, but they both had good seasons in the past. I think they both have a lot of upside. They're both good keeper values. For Brandon, this addresses a need in the outfield. With Butler, frankly, I'm a little bit more bullish on Butler going forward, just because I think once it heats up, a lot of homers are going to get hit in Sacramento. Um, I think I slightly prefer the A's lineup as well. I mean, Langoliers is awesome. Also, McGonagall's awesome with Detroit. But anyways, I think it's a pretty fair trade. Slightly lean Butler just because I'm more optimistic on Sacramento's outlook as a whole this summer.
Makes sense. What about you, Griff?
I think I'd rather have Torque. Um, but I mean, with team context, it kind of makes sense that you did need an outfielder, and your first base in CI was full, and having Jordan and Shohei as utils kind of blocks them there. So, I mean, from that, it makes sense. I'd rather have Torque. I think he just has such big power, and I think there's a higher chance he'd be capped next year. But I think it's reasonable with if you need an outfielder.
Yeah, I think Griffin's exactly where I'd be too. I would so slightly prefer Torque, although I think Butler's probably got the more upside just because he could, if he locks back in a little bit, have speed with the power. But I think Torque is in most situations going to be better in most of the categories besides power. Maybe the runs and RBIs to Raymond's point. I kind of think Oakland's lineup's going to be there or better. But I would slightly prefer Torque. Brendan, I think Griffin's exactly right. It makes sense trying to get the position you need. It was hard to play everybody. Feels like a pretty solid win-win. Is that sort of what you were
Yeah.
thinking?
I mean, I just need an outfielder. It's pretty much as simple as that. I just hope that the A's will give Butler enough run to turn around because I think he will.
Yeah,
But Torkelson was an interesting person to have for the first month because he stunk. He was really bad, and then he hit a solo home run in 5 straight days,
yeah.
and then I traded him, and he's hit one home run since. It's only been 10 or 8 days or something. Yeah, it's
They come in bunches.
his numbers looked horrible, and then after 5 days they looked pretty good. So I'm like, well, I guess he's the one that's going.
Well, if I recall correctly, you moved kind of quick here. Because I think I would have potentially made an offer for Torkelson. I think you updated your block that morning, and by lunch you made this trade.
Yeah, I just sent the offer out. Yeah, with a auction calculator, just picked the guy that was closest with the nearest amount of money.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, let's keep it moving here. So Machado did not stay with Kyle for very long. We got 2 for 1 here on Bryce Eldridge call-up day. We have Jackson Merrill from Manny Machado and Bryce Eldridge, a Charlie and Kyle, which is many people are saying Kyle is Charlie Jr. I know people like to compare him to you, Raymond, just because the family died, but I get more Kyle vibes from Charlie than you. Anyway, there, Raymond, this is your uncle. This is sort of your uncle and Kyle. What do you think happened? How do you feel?
Um, when I first saw it, I was like, Jackson Merrill by far is the best player in this deal. Like, Kyle won that deal by a landslide, but I mean, it makes sense for Charlie to make this move. I think it comes down to how Eldridge is going to perform. Um, if you believe in him, I mean, he has great bat speed. So that, I mean, I kind of follow that metric alone uh, pretty too much for the most part. I feel like we already know what Machado is going to do by year's end. 25 home runs, 270 average, good counting stats. And Jackson Merrill kind of scares me a little bit. I mean, I think he's a tremendous hitter, but he so much of his perceived values tied to you know 24 home runs, 16 steals, and 292 average. Um, he regressed last year. He's only hitting 228 this year. He has the steals back this year, but like, what if he's only like a 2020, 250, 260 guy? I don't think that's going to be the case, but I think there's a chance that is. And is he going to be a $30 player a couple of years from now at that rate? I don't know. We'll see. Eldridge could be a stud. Um, I think it makes sense for both sides.
And I'm sorry, I should have gone to you last because you went first last time. Thanks for being a good sport there. Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, I really love this for Kyle. I mean, I echo some concern about Jackson Merrill, but the great thing about where Kyle is he can afford to just sit and wait for the rest of the year. So he's going to gather all that information, be able to make a better decision later. So it makes perfect sense to get the guy with the highest upside. This it confused me for Charlie a little bit. I'm not sure. It seems like almost playing both roads, which can work, but doesn't always. I don't know. It was weird. I do like Machado. I think Charlie he still has a chance at the money, but it's probably an outside chance. But to also take Eldridge, like that's also keeper. I didn't know which way he was going, and maybe playing both sides is okay, but I tend to pick one or the other.
Yeah, it kind of felt like maybe Charlie has soured on Merrill more than I think you were right and Raymond's right that there's definitely more risk than there was a calendar year ago, but it feels like Charlie may have soured on him. What do you think, Griff?
So when it first came down, I was like, I think I'm kind of low on Merrill. I don't know how good he is. But then the more I thought about it, the more I looked at it, I was like, he's objectively as good as Jaren Duran is right now and like much younger. And I loved Jaren Duran still. So it's like, I should love Jackson Merrill. Like he's 23, he's good. He's, yeah. So I would easily take Merrill there. Hit
I
number
always
one
thought
on a good.
Merrill's profile looked a lot like Cheerios.
Hmm. It's on a tight.
It's more Churio than Duran.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like in general, like I liked Duran and Merrill's better, so I should like Merrill a lot. So
I mean,
if
a
that
lot
makes
of it will
sense.
come down to what Eldridge is. It could also be that Charlie's really high on Eldridge, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true, but it's possible. And I will commend Kyle. I feel like generally a decent move is just always sell a guy the day he comes up or like the first day or two before it if it's announced, because that's probably when you really zoom out, unless it is like Wander Franco or someone who's like a top prospect, they're almost always going to probably be at their peak value right then. So Eldridge could pretty quickly become as good a keeper as Merrill at a cheaper price. It's possible. I just don't think it's likely. I think it's a hard place to hit. The line probably going to get worse if they do a rebuild. I'm still pretty in on Merrill. It's diminished a little bit, but in my opinion, you could potentially say a chunk of it last year is just that he was hurt, and he was hurt. Like Raymond mentioned, he is running again this year at a pretty good. I think he's up to 7 or 8 steals already. If he's a 25, 30 steal guy with 20s home run power and maybe room for more and a decent Dodgers lineup, I don't know. I would pretty comfortably go Merrill.
I think also with these big time prospects, like as soon as they do something, like my opinion totally shifts on them. So like Merrill has 2 good weeks and it's like, oh yeah, duh. He's like so good.
Well, it's hard because if they do and then they just keep doing it, they become James Wood or PCA or someone last year. It's like, wow, now this is like a top five keeper in the league. But then if they have a bad 2 months, it's like they might get demoted. Then they're worth nothing. Anything else on that one, guys? All right, cool beans. Let's keep it moving here. This is Raymond. You were itching to make a move. You hadn't made a move in a few days. You made a move. Pretty big move here. You and Eric got together here. O'Neal Cruz and Kyle Tucker for Miguel Vargas, Rock Chalosky, and the recently injured Tariq Skubal. Pretty big one here in a day full of big trades. Griff, I've gone to you last time. So what do you think here?
Oh man, I'm kind of worried about saying anything bad or else people will talk about the next trade, but I think I'd easily rather have Eric's side on this one. I just don't know where Tariq is with that injury. Like it really scares me whenever a pitcher gets injured like that. And sometimes you see him come back and they're so good. And sometimes they just don't. I guess if Tariq comes back and he is Tariq Skubal, I think then is it's a fine deal. I just think that's such a big if though. I do like Vargas.
Yeah. What about you, Brennan?
Yeah, I was this one frustrated me because Ray updated the block. I forget, eight something in the morning. I have a 9 o'clock meeting at work. By the time I'm out at 11 o'clock, this trade's done. I'm like, shit. I probably had something to offer, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, Tucker and Cruz both going to be great players. Probably not going to return like absolute elite value, but still really, really, really good. The Skubal injury update was great, which
Yeah.
is cool. I mean, if that ends up not being so bad, then maybe the risk isn't as high as we assumed from the get go. And then I don't know, just a piece on Kalowski. I'm not sure. I don't know. He obviously has a lot of hype as being the 1-1 guy, but some of the comps I've heard for him were more like just really good baseball player rather than elite fantasy guy. So I don't know. You never know how this is going to turn out. But I've heard like comps like Dansby Swanson, and he was also 1-1. So that's a little less exciting, but obviously he still could be really good and get to the majors by next year. So
Yeah. I think I'm generally with you guys. It's funny because I talked to Eric some, I think probably that morning you're talking about, Brendan, about Scooble too, because I think this was around the time I was starting to float a soft sell myself. It was interesting. I was like, hey, if Scooball is going to be out for a while, maybe I can get him at a reasonable price. And Eric wanted more than what I felt like I could reasonably get away with offering him, which was Vlad plus or something like that. I think it was Vlad and Horner, sort of where he wanted to start the conversation. I was like, wow, it feels like a lot. Um, but I stand corrected, Eric, because you got, I think, probably a better deal. Um, there's so much upside if Scooball is back, and I think they said 6 weeks, which feels really, really quick, even if it is just one loose body. But the upside's there. I mean, if he is back, he is the 1-1 pitcher if he just shows it in the second half. And Raymond, I think you had said, I'm blowing it up. You can afford kind of, you were saying with Kyle, the weight. You may have like a 40, 50, $60 surplus value keeper if Scooball is good the rest of the way, just like he's been. I think it's the likeliest outcome, just because there's so much risk with pitchers. And Tucker is a first round pick. Cruz has played close to a first round value so far. But I mean, Vargas is solid. Cholowski's got a ton of outcomes. Um, I feel great about it for Eric. I think if you are doing a full rebuild, Raymond, I get it for you, but I don't love it as much. Tell us why it happened, how it happened. Was this you? Was this him?
Yeah, it was me being impulsive. I had buyer's remorse the next day. Eric beat me. Definitely won this trade. I think I could have gotten more for each of those players individually. Um, I think I was frustrated with Tucker sucking and O'Neal Cruz it just feels like it's the high point for him right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he last year, he hit 200 and he started off on a similarly scorching start last year. In the second half, it just like totally bottomed out. I mean, he has like 25 steals plus home runs right now, hitting 255. Um, when I acquired him just the week prior, he was hitting like 315. Then I saw his average dip every single day a little bit. And I'm like, all right, this is the beginning of the end um, with Cruz. So I wanted to move on him pretty fast. Saw an opportunity to buy Scooble. Um, I regret having moved Tucker. I wish I included like Austin Riley instead. But that's the piece I needed to make the deal happen. So I requested Vargas, who I'm actually pretty high on. I mean, his Statcast numbers are pretty good.
He is, yeah.
Prospect pedigree for somebody rebuilding. I think he's a great target just because, I believe in him. He's $2. And then Cholowski, I don't know. I saw the Dansby comps. I also saw like the Gunnar Henderson comps. Like it's kind of all over the place. I can't really form an opinion on that until probably after the draft. Um, After the MLB draft, but we'll see. The prospect guy I follow really likes him. So that kind of was the tipping point for me. But with all that said, I think Eric definitely won that trade. I have buyer's remorse and I would do it back. So Eric, if you want to trade back, I'd do that.
Well, since you made it, you got probably the best possible outcome with updates on Scooball, right? I mean, I think when you
Yeah. I mean, I was thrilled to
wasn't
see
the
that because if he comes back a month from now or 6 weeks from now, um, I'll probably try dealing him for, a haul of keeper talent, but we'll see what happens.
Can I ask just one point of clarification? I know you said you already sort of regret it. So I'm just curious though, did you feel when you made it, just I want to make a move as quickly as possible because I am impulsive about Tucker, or is it you were just really optimistic about Scooball getting a good diagnosis and getting back quickly to where he's going to be? I'm just curious.
I had a slow day at work. It's as simple as that.
You
I
got to
was
tell us when
bored.
you have those days, man. I want to get players.
Yeah.
To
Usually when I update the trade block like 5 times in like 10 minutes, that's when Ray's having a slow day at work. Hit him up for a trade if you want to trade. Because sometimes you might be able to take advantage of me like this. So
Oh, I feel like Raymond's the hardest on Raymond now. Again, I don't love it. I wouldn't have made it. I don't think it's the worst thing you could have possibly done. I mean, it's just got a ton of risk. You need Scuba to come back and just
no.
be Scuba, basically.
Yeah, no, part of the reason I'm so hard on myself is I look at my team as it is right now. And if I just replace Garrett Mitchell and Jesus Sanchez with Kyle Tucker and O'Neal Cruz, I think I'd have like a top 5 team in the league. Um, and I think I'd still have a good fight to putting up the money, but this makes it a little harder.
Yeah.
Um,
to give you credit, next year Tucker would be 59 and Cruz would be 41. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there is a chance that like you do still get the best keeper value for next year and for the years coming for like by far. So,
Yeah.
to give
Yeah.
you some credit.
I don't want to derail us too far. What is the worst stat line? Let's say Scooble's back the day after the All Star break. I mean, it's a little bit longer than they're saying right now. Just say he comes back in 2 months, like July 10th or 12th, whatever that is. 2.5 months into the season, what are his stats? The worst they could be, Raymond, or you feel good keeping him? That's assuming he gets out of it healthy. What does he need to look like? Because he'd have to look pretty terrible, I think, for not feeling comfortable with the idea that, hey, over the offseason, he'll get better, he'll heal more, he'll have more time to build up.
I mean, assuming he can have like a, I don't know, assuming he heads into the next season completely healthy, I'd feel good about having him regardless.
Yeah.
You can't beat that track record. He can have a 7 ERA for the rest of the season, be healthy heading into next season, and still feel pretty good about it. Um, just because I think he's the best pitcher in the league, and he's at a price that's capable for the next like 3 to 5 years plus. I don't know. So
I agree with you.
I think he's a premium asset in this league, and um, if he was healthy, I think this trade would have made a lot more sense. But
Yeah.
you know,
I think realistically, he'll be kept until he starts the season not healthy sometime. Like he's just
yeah,
gonna be kept until then.
yeah.
Yeah, seems most likely.
That feels like a good bet.
Yeah.
Let's keep it
I
moving.
wanted to uh I
Oh, I'm
wanted
sorry.
to just real quick give we've already given Eric some flowers here with this one, but I want to give Eric flowers because a couple years ago, I think when Nick beat me out on the last day of the year, uh Eric I traded Logan Gilbert to Eric for Paul Goldschmidt, an aging Paul Goldschmidt, and the throw in on that deal was Tariq Skubal. So huge
I
ups on
remember
that one.
that.
Oh,
The throw in on that deal was, yeah.
what a good segue to talk about the first three-team trade ever in this league.
That is wild.
Well, no, that was, yeah, that's what you're saying. That was the first three-team trade,
Yeah.
and this is the first four.
Yeah, this is a mouthful. So I will just, I guess, reading it for clarity, because I feel like it's kind of confusingly written here, just who they're going to. So Missigman is getting Cedon Rafaela, Bretton Doyle, Jaron Duran. I am getting Jesse Schultens. Raymond is getting Joe Adell, Michael Garcia, and Kyle Bradish, and Ketel Marte, which is the biggest fish. Griffin, you are getting here McLean, Dansby Swanson, Jansen Junk. I think that's right, right? It's probably too
Yeah.
complicated to say who's giving everything up. They can see it on the screen. Brendan, you're the only one not involved, so I guess you're up. What the fuck happened?
Great question, guys. I think Raymond got away with one here. Just
Hmm.
reading it. I mean, I know he gave up Nolan McLean, but to get Adele and Garcia and Bradish and Ketel Marte, geez, that's really good. He should trade me Ketel Marte. Uh,
For Luis Robert.
for yeah.
Throw him in.
Um, what a I'm pretty sure I'm right that Nick just got involved in this just to make it a 14 deal, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how else to
I
interpret
had
it.
Doyle that day, and I wanted to use Schulten. So I was like, I'll just give you the guy I'm cutting if you want. Let me get Schulten's.
That was great.
So
It was
instead
a
of
lot of
one for
fun. It
one,
made
I
it
got
made
you.
my brain hurt.
So you feel like Raymond comfortably won. We'll move on to Raymond and Griffin in a second. Do you feel like someone comfortably did not win, or do you feel like it's pretty fair otherwise? I know I'm not really a big part of it anyway. Do you feel like a Griff or Miz did a bad job?
It would have to be me, so it's fair.
Or maybe you love Doyle and think I got ripped off there, or love Schultz and think I made out like a bandit.
We gave up so much. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Griff. I checked your team after this one and said, does he even have a team? You had more players than I thought you did. Somehow you still had 23 guys.
That is perfectly broke down, I think, Brendan. Griff or Raymond, which of you feels like, because again, it's not me, who was the mastermind here? I guess you walk me through it.
Griffin and I just text 24/7 about random trade offers all the time. And one we were mulling over for a while was like McLean with like Duran, Garcia, and Bradish, something like that. I think that's a fair trade, but given where I am in the standings, I didn't want to give up the best keeper in the deal. So that's kind of how I was thinking. And then I guess Nick, you guys were like all together Thursday night. And then Griff's like, all right, what if you get Ketel Marte in the trade? And I'm like, well, I'm driving right now. I'll take a look later, but that sounds pretty good to me. Um, that's just kind of how it evolved. Um,
So Griff, you
so
made it happen. I would say
yeah,
then.
Griff, you were the broker here. What happened?
Well, so I guess I'll say I was comfortable giving up all of that except for Rafaela. I think I offered you. Basically, I offered
Yes.
Raymond. Raymond really wanted Seiya Suzuki or Andy Pajes as part of a bigger deal with some of these guys included. And I just really didn't want to include them. Um, so these were a lot of like my next tier guy down in my head at least guys who I included. And I said you can have I offered him his choice of three of Jaron Duran, Michael Garcia, Joe Adele, Mookie Betts, and Jeremy Pena. Like any three he wants, plus Kyle Bradish. And it's mostly because I'm kind of feeling a roster crunch. I really need pitching. My pitching is ass. And up until last night, I thought Kyle Bradish wasn't that good. Um, so yeah, I just really needed to trade some hitting for pitching. I don't like having my keeper value tied up in pitching. It really makes me nervous, and that's kind of how I've tried to avoid it. So I was driving to work on Friday, and I'm like, God, I'm so nervous now. I have to worry about Nolan McLean's elbow every day, but I don't know if I like it. Maybe I have a regret like you do, Ray, but at least I didn't feel like I gave up anyone who I'll really, really regret. I hope, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Brendan. I think Raymond getting what he got plus Cattell from Miz is probably the best swing of the trade. I think Miz's return is fine. I think yours is not great, but I don't hate it. I do understand when to consolidate. I understand too that like when you look at Rafaela, Adele, Michael, Duran, and Bradish, it's like a numbers game, right? That's six guys. Let's say, what do you guys think is fair? Probably three of them are keepable next year at a decent to moderate value. Like the calculator's going to say they're worth $6 more than they should be. Probably one of them ends up really turning it on and being like $15 more, and maybe two of them are terrible or hurt. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if that is what the numbers actually are. Um, I'm just trying to think sort of because you're talking about the risk gripping. I only bring that up because you're talking about the risk you're putting in someone like McLean, and pitchers are so risky. We were just saying before the year started, Scooble's the best keeper in the league, and now we're like, what is Scooble worth? Um, so I think you traded a ton of super safe values who are good players too. Um, got a really strong upside play there, and I mean, Junk's useful. Dansby's useful.
Da Dansby is not a zero. I mean, he's
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't really think he's too.
yeah. And I'm a Dansby truther, by the way. Based on conversations, a lot of people in this league hate Dansby Swanson, but I love
No,
him.
I had Dansby last year. I like Dansby.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's
But I think he's like a step down from like he's maybe the same tier as like Rafael in my eyes. So, you know,
that's probably
Griffin
not super
recoup
far
some
off.
value there.
It's just that I think he's over 20, right? Is he 20, 21?
He's 20.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you keep him next year. I don't even know. I sort of assumed you probably wouldn't, but he could be really good and is a keeper. My point is Griffin has a pretty clear path to the best keeper. I'm curious though, Griffin, the reason I went through all that other than just talking about the value risk in McLean is this sort of a move towards consolidation towards a rebuild? Is this you're trying to actively buy and sell and still push for the money plus? What are you thinking?
No, this is just I need pitching this year.
Okay.
Um, I think I get the best keeper until he gets hurt, which, I like to envision my guys like Joe Adele in 2030 would have been on my team and crushing it. And like I just know Nolan McLean's not going to stay healthy till 2030. Like that doesn't happen with pitchers, but um I also wanted to mention that like a decent part of this is I needed to make room to pick up Jake McCarthy. So
Fair.
like when you do that, you have to you have to make big moves like this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you felt like you needed hitting now, but with Jake McCarthy, you're probably all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I solved all my power needs with Grand Slam McCarthy.
All right. Good conversation on that. Let's keep it moving. Talk about a little one for one here. Much simpler. Happened 3 minutes later. Kind of preposterous here. But Jorge Polanco for Jose Fernandez. I will go to someone who's not Griff first, but Griff, before that, why wasn't this just part of it?
Well, this was I had an open shortstop spot after this deal.
But
Miz
Miz is
was
the one
like,
who took this deal anyway.
well, no, that after we did it, Miz was like, I hate Jose Fernandez. And I was like, I have an open shortstop spot. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what Polanco is, but I'm cutting Fernandez tomorrow to make room for bets, so it's not. I think Miz won then
uh,
easily.
Brendan, Raymond, what do you guys think?
Uh,
Next,
yeah,
I don't know.
fine. Good for
Oh,
Miz. He's getting a player he can start.
yeah, I like Polanco slightly more, but Fernandez is way wider range of outcomes. Yeehaw. Little one for one here. Dansby Swanson, who Raymond loves, for Ramon
Mhm.
Laureano, who Raymond loves. Raymond, what do you think?
I don't know. I value them equally. Um, you're gonna get more speed with Dansby, I guess. Maybe a little bit more power, but you're gonna get a little bit more average with Laureano, I think. I don't know. No, I think I slightly lean Dansby.
And just to
Yeah,
clarify, is that
I lean
for
Dansby
cost, or is that just in a vacuum as far as right now for this year?
this year.
Gotcha.
I mean Dansby's in the better lineup, even though he's hitting ninth, he already has like 25 RBIs.
Yeah, he's on like 100
Um,
pace.
yeah, like he's he's good
Yeah.
and underrated.
So Brendan Griffin was in this. I'll go to you next. What did you think?
Yeah, I like Swanson, like Laureano. I think yeah, it's pretty even. I I won't consider, I wouldn't operate under the assumption that either of these guys would be kept. So yeah, it feels like a need trade, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's probably unlikely either one is. I imagine Griff, like you mentioned there, Fernandez is probably getting the boot because of the shortstop thing. Is this mostly just you want a more comfortable placement of shortstops?
Yeah, I just need an outfield more than a shortstop, so I offered Dansby to like five different people,
Makes sense.
and he accepted it.
I'm taking him.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I would slightly prefer Dansby, but if I'm rebuilding, probably slightly prefer Laureano. I think Brendan's right. Probably neither one's a keeper, but I think there's probably a slightly higher likelihood it's for Laureano if one of them is. We got 5 minutes. Can we bang out this last one?
Yeah.
I think so, right? All right. So this is hot off the presses a couple hours ago. Travis Bazzana and Trevor Rogers for Francisco Lindor and Shane Bieber. Brendan, let's have you go first. What'd you think?
I think this made a lot of sense on both sides. I knew Raymond was trying to sell Lindor. I would have loved to have him, but it didn't fit in the budget. Since he's hurt right now, I think that means the cost is manageable for Nick. So I think that made a lot of sense. It's not like a full all out buy for you there, Nick. So you still have your options open, especially as Lindor gets healthy. And of course, you also have a really good team, so you can just keep him and he'll almost assuredly just be really good for the rest of the year. Um, Bazana's interesting. I think he's pretty much what I expected, maybe with a little bit more speed so far, at least in terms of actual stolen bases.
Running wild,
Like
yeah.
7 steals already is really, really cool.
Not caught either.
I didn't expect that out of his game. But I expected the low bat speed, kind of like high soft skills kind of guy that means probably not like an all-star, but a seriously good player that is keepable for a few years. So it makes a lot of sense for both sides to me.
What about you, Griff?
Yeah, I'll agree. Makes a lot of sense for both sides. It's generally the type of trade I'd rather have Bazan and Rogers, but I think you're not paying a ton for Lindor, so I mean, Bazana's on pace for 100 steals, so that's pretty hard to turn down, but maybe that's not sustainable. Maybe.
I love Bazana. Raymond, it's been a couple hours. You feel like you pulled whatever me on me, or is there remorse in any capacity?
No, I mean, I think it was fair. Part of the reason I wanted to get rid of Lindor was, you know, A, everybody on my team is hurt and I wanted more IL spots. B, um, based on a lot of the feedback I was getting from people who could buy Lindor, so the people in the top half of the league that would be competing for the money, a lot of the feedback I was getting was, I can't fit him in my budget. He's too much money. Um, and yeah, Nick, you were really the only one that expressed interest in him that could make that work, and that's the best deal we could work out. Bizana fit the bill. He's a buck. Former top prospect. He could just be like, I mean, I think he's going to be a very like mediocrely good player, probably top out at like $25 a keeper value. Not accounting for inflation, of course, but um, I think he'll be a solid player for several years. He has great plate discipline, so he could find his way in the top third of that lineup and get a lot of runs, and hopefully a bunch of steals. But probably max out at like 15 to 20 home runs. Um, so I don't know. He could be Luke Keeschel, except a little bit better. You know, better lineup. It's kind of my comparison to him.
I like him a lot. I mean, I
Yeah.
think the bat speed's concerning in that he'll probably never have. I'm probably a little pessimistic personally, even though I love him on the 20 home run power. It's just that I do think there could be. I think Griffin says on pace for 100 steals. I mean, he's running like half the time he's on first base so far, if not more. He's hit like 200. He's walking a ton. He controls the strike zone, which is sick. Um, and if he is just a $20, 25 or $30, whatever he ends up being value player, that's great at a dollar for a few years.
Yeah.
Because that's super easy to give up. But I do sort of feel like it's reassuring to hear what Raymond just said there about the um, the mechanics of who can buy and who can't. Because I wasn't necessarily trying to buy the last week or two. I actually was just doing the opposite and sort of landed where I landed here in this trade because I feel like the wind was blowing more that there's way more sellers than there should be and not enough buyers. So I felt like I was kind of buying low. We'll see if Lindor stays hurt longer than he should. I might regret it pretty quickly. Griffin, you
Yeah.
mentioned. I know we busted a minute, but you like the Rogers and Bazan. Is you didn't even mention Bieber. You don't think Bieber's close to Rogers as far as pitchers go?
Not right now, just since I don't
It's
know.
fun
He's
to do,
been
yeah.
injured like twice for two different things, and
Yeah,
he was kind of walking a tightrope to begin with.
fair. You guys will come back for 10 minutes and wrap it up with some grading stuff and other mishmash.
Brendan
Yep.
trivia.
Grading
Sure.
trivia.
Cool.
Oh yeah. You gonna send it, Nick?
Yep. Make sure they don't get all the secret nuggets for the Patreon there. If you guys sign up for the Patreon again, code Kyle23, you can hear Brendan and Raymond's trade negotiations. Unfortunately, those are not for the free access though. All right, guys, welcome back. Let's finish up here a little bit. I can share one sec here. It's been a month of waivers, so outside of the trades, which we broke down in great detail there, while I'm pulling it up, any trade or any pickups, pardon me, or cuts you guys felt like were especially noteworthy that you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, last week so we were gonna pod last week, and I had a joke prepared,
It
because
was
I
still
dropped
fun.
Jake. Well, I dropped Jake McCarthy then, and it was gonna be so funny, and then no, I picked him back up, so that was it.
The joke is you got him back, or wait,
No, the joke was like I was supposed like I was finally over him, and
oh,
I rid of my addiction, and but he pulled me back in.
little weird, never getting back together, but you are back together.
Yeah.
Super fair.
I made a little list of pickups that really stood out to me that I can run through if you guys want.
Please do, Raymond.
Yeah, Dalton Rushing, very good for Kyle. I mean, fits his strategy perfectly. I mean, if Rushing gets dealt, I mean, he has top five catcher upside in my opinion. Um, Schultz for Roman, I thought it was a lot of money he spent at the time, but scared money don't make money. Schultz is a good player, and he got him. Um, Eric Getty by you, Nick. I mean, he's a serviceable pitcher. I think he's a great number four, number five pitcher in this format. Um, I think we'll see. Um, Ballesteros, also KJ. I mean, picked him up, flipped him, got Machado. Carlos Cortez, Griff. Um, Cortez has been pretty awesome, I think. I mean, great plate discipline. Graham Ashcraft, Charlie. I think he's going to be the new closer there. Marto Vargas, Stan the Man.
Oh man, yeah.
Miguel Vargas, Eck. Jack Perkins, Brendan, Cade Anderson, KJ, and then hype myself up with both Louis Varland and Jacob Latz. So those were my standouts.
Closer whisperer. A lot of those are great, I think, too. Since we have Brendan on, Brendan, I saw you got to Paula for your minors
Yeah.
out. What's up? I went back and forth so much in my mind about do I want him or Braden Montgomery or
Oh,
whichever
I
Montgomery it
don't
is.
know. I had Waldschmidt called up. It was between and I was deciding between DePaula and Pedro Ramirez in Chicago.
I was just curious.
I don't know.
Had
The
I
DePaula looks good, but it's hard to break into Dodgers, you know?
exactly, that's how I felt too. I was like, selfishly, I was kind of hoping maybe Montgomery gets called up in July and I can pick up DePaula in July and have both. Did not work. So I had you down for that one. Um, I do think arguably the biggest impact anyone has made is what you said, Raymond Vargas. No, Lamar Vargas, what the hell? 34, just raking.
Yeah, he's so good.
Insanity. It really has been for him.
But yeah, Miguel Vargas, back to Vargas. Miguel Vargas was great because he was a legitimate trade piece that I was targeting in that Kyle Tucker trade. So I think that was a great snag.
I
Probably
don't
my
remember when
favorite
he
one.
happened either, Raymond, but one of the other ones you didn't name that I had for you is Nate Lowe. He got him for, I think, a buck or two. And I
Hmm.
like that a lot. He's playing really well, but even before that, just I figured he hit most days in middle of a good lineup, good ballpark.
Yeah,
Until Suarez comes back.
be a good contributor, I think. Very solid.
Griff, what was your favorite?
I don't, did you say Brian King? Um, just Brad picked him up. He might be a temporary closer. It's not huge, but decent.
Yeah.
Eduardo Rodriguez is a recent one. I mean, he just threw a gem today, so that was pretty good.
Yeah. We were talking about, I like the Griffin point, which is not even really a joking point, where if someone cuts someone after trade, kind of immediately you're like, they lost that trade. I like that within probably 36 hours of my part of Schultz and Doyle, both are just on free agency. But I cut Schultz first, so I think I lost that, unfortunately.
Hey, you were part of a historic four-team trade, Nick. That's
I don't think a win's in the cards for me right now, so I wanted to have something I could hang my hat on. Brendan, I think you
Um,
have a trivia thing for us, so you want to play us out?
Well, yeah, sure. Raymond was certainly speaking highly of Miz despite trading him away. He threw out 300 and 350 Ks in a season, which I thought was kind of crazy. So that made me look up the 300K season club. If anyone wants to take a guess on who the last person with 300 Ks in a season was and when, I would be.
Scher-
I have the answers in front of me.
Garrett Cole
Scherzer.
2019.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that's yeah.
nice.
Fuck
But
Griff.
there was another person in 2019. So Carrick had 326. There's another person in 2019. Can you name
Max
him?
Scherzer.
No, Max Scherzer is on the list though in 2018 at the Nationals with 300 exactly.
Oh,
Was it Kluber?
No, I don't see Kluber on the list.
That's not a bad
no,
guess. I was trying to think who.
It's a really good guess. Yeah, that one season with Kluber was great. I had him. He's wonderful.
not Snell.
It's not Trevor Bauer, is it?
No, not
Was
Trevor
it
Bauer.
DeGrom?
Oh, that's a great.
No, DeGrom isn't on the list. That's a really good guess though. I'm guessing once he started throwing hard enough, the health stuff started to hit. I'll give you guys a hint. It was the same team, the Houston Astros.
It's not Verlander, is it?
Eric.
Is Verlander
Oh,
300
wow.
exactly?
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah, And then, okay, so going back, the list is so yeah, Verlander and Cole in 2019, Scherzer with 300 in 2018, Chris Sale with 308 in 2017, Kershaw in 2015, and then it goes back to 2002 with Kurt Schilling. And then I'll ask you guys the last guy with 350 Ks in a season before 2015, but obviously very great, very good pitcher, Hall of Famer. Any guesses?
Pedro Martinez.
It's not Pedro Martinez, but he is on the list. So this will give you a hint, maybe. So Pedro Martinez got 313 in 1999. Person with
Mhm.
more than 350 was after that, but very
Ooh.
in the same
Oh,
era.
I have two,
Right.
but I guess Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson,
Oh,
Yeah.
372.
what's the highest
Jesus
Felix guy?
Christ.
Felix anywhere near that? I was going to guess him next.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Felix Hernandez. I know he's not quite the same era. He's who I was thinking.
I don't think Felix had quite those K numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah, Felix was like
I
right
don't know.
around like 8.5, I think, per nine.
I could have sworn he spiked a year with
Um,
like over
my
300.
other guess was going to be Roger Clemens.
Roger Clemens, hold on.
Looks like never over 300. 292 was
Yeah,
the most.
Kurt Schilling had a bunch. Randy Johnson had a bunch. Pedro Martinez had a couple.
Well, I think
So it's like
the tough part of
in the
it.
90s and 2000s, it's only Johnson, Martinez, and Schilling.
It's like a simultaneous thing where like no one throws many innings now, so it's hard now. But also back then, guys didn't strike out anywhere near the way they strike out now.
Yeah.
So I haven't looked. Over under is what do you think the all-time record is? Like
Oh, I have it in front
over
of me.
without yeah, so you're not counted. I didn't look either, but like what do you want to set at like 390? 400?
Well, so
Is it
so
one of
you
those
have to
ancient?
you have to define your terms here. Sorry to be like a nerd, but in certain eras of baseball, some of the records were absolutely ridiculous. So you have to like define modern era or something.
I was gonna include like the old Haas Radburns and the
Ah, it's
Walter
a good pull.
Johnsons and the
All right.
so I mean I guess you just gave it away that it's over. So it's got to be like 500 something then, right?
Do you want the answer?
I guess I
Oh
like
my God.
too.
I'm looking at it right
Are we
now.
doing an
That's
over under? Or am I
crazy.
just guessing a number? Are
Wait, what did you say?
we doing an over under, or am I just guessing? I want to guess.
Yeah, over under 500. I'll take over. Tell me when you won't take over, I guess. 500
I'll take 501. We're just playing like go up until we stop.
or 525. I'll take the over.
I'll probably take under 525. I feel like
Okay,
it's very
sure.
possible. That just seems
All
fair.
right, I take over, he takes under. Who wins?
It's right in the middle. 513,
Oh,
So
1886.
you win.
Matt Kilroy of the Baltimore Orioles.
that is insane. How many innings is that in?
Oh, hold on.
He probably
It's
has like a
far up.
16 for 9. He threw
Probably like
700.
700, yeah.
583.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So see, if
Good
Felix
strikeout
was that
pitcher.
the year he was good, I would have been right about the Felix strikeouts too. Interesting. That's nuts. Dude, what the fuck? So he pitched like every second game?
68 games started.
Oh, that's
And
That's
they're
what
like
I'm saying
all
in
the big
today, rain, man.
games.
The
They actually
the
made.
modern era record was 383 from Nolan Ryan.
Wait, if he threw 68 starts and had 9 innings of start, he still would not be at 700 innings, right?
Hey, they pitch really well.
Okay, he made relief
66
win.
complete
Well,
games.
Or a
yeah.
lot of 10, 11, 12 inning games, maybe? Because 68 times 10 is 680. That's crazy. He had to average 10 innings.
It's only 580.
Oh, okay. So it's like
Yeah.
8 innings and a half a start or 8 innings a start. That's crazy.
yeah,
66
70
complete
games.
games consecutively in consecutive years. 66
Jesus
complete games.
Christ.
That's so ridiculous.
And he set the record with a 7.9 K per nine.
And did you see his record for the year? 29 and 34.
What year was it again? Sorry.
1886.
Oh, okay. So probably a dead ball era.
Do you think they knew his ERA plus was 101?
Honestly, 101 is funnier than being like 90 or something. It's funnier, it's just slightly above average.
And he's a 20-year-old rookie.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And 61 wild pitches.
Well, it's also
Andy
weird. Is like,
Koufax at 382.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Nolan Ryan at 383.
Yeah. Randy Johnson, 372.
That was fun, Brendan. I appreciate that. That was good. I want to be respectful of you guys. I know it's a work night. We're getting late here. But Brendan, Raymond, thank you for joining us. Griff, you too, filling in while Kyle's in the process of moving. Brendan, Raymond, any closing points to the league? Any proclamations about how you'll end up winning, or Raymond, how you'll end up rebuilding immediately and winning, or I don't know. Anything you want to say?
I'd feel a lot better if my guys would start hitting again. But I feel like I'll be able to give first a run for its money.
I feel that way too. What do you think, Raymond? How you feeling?
No, I mean, at the moment, I feel terrible. My team sucks. Anybody I trade for automatically gets hurt or starts hitting 200. But with that said, I think I'm going to continue trying to play for the money. So in order to do that, I'm going to try to make a lot of trades. So if anybody wants to trade, let me know. Um, my bat signal in the sky is Ray updated his trade block. If you see that 3 times in 10
It's like
minutes, then
Beetlejuice.
I'm going to be making a move. So reach out when you see that.
Man, I really wish there was a way I could clear my trade block without everyone in the league having to get a notification.
Yeah, me too. It's annoying.
This is
well, I will
like
say, I think etiquette is, at least like for me, I've never talked about it, but I think like when you see other people do it, like if you get the notification within like a couple minutes, I use that time to do mine.
Just so it's all in one
yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
instance.
a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
I
Oh,
appreciated that run the other week where I think like Zach updated the trade block and then 2 seconds later Griff updates it, then Nick, and I think half the team updated their trade block within the same 5 minute span.
Yeah. I like
It's
how
pretty
Roman
funny.
followed it up with updated trade block with wanting Shohei Ohtani and Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And that knows what he wants.
He has a target.
mm.
Yep.
I haven't heard
My
from him
favorite
about
episode
Ohtani, but
is the Mark Minnis, and I guess it's also Mark Minnis and Brad. Or I guess Roman wasn't in the trades either, right? Did Roman have a trade in there? I don't believe
I
he
don't
did. It was
remember it.
bad. It'd just be so funny to me, like if Mark Minnis ends up winning with zero moves trade wise, other than basically just the one to get judged.
Oh, okay. I was
Yep.
like, I think there was a pretty big trade he made.
But I'm just saying that's the only
Yeah.
trade he makes the whole year. That's ridiculous. It's gonna be really funny when there's 100 otherwise.
Yeah. It seems like the meta strategy is to, if you have value, trade it so that
Yep.
always be adjusting your timeline. So
That's really
don't let it
worked out
run
well
out.
for me so far.
And
Sweet.
I think Brendan's exactly right. Like I said, I tried to sell 4 days ago, then I bought Lindor today. So just
Yeah,
be pliable.
Yep. Wheel and deal.
All right, guys. Well,
Let's
I
uh
appreciate you.
let's try to get a 5 team trade done this year. I'm gonna try my
Well,
hardest to make that happen. That might be my ultimate goal for the season. Broker that.
or I mean, a legit 4 team trade too would be nice. Not with like
Oh,
DI
that
Nick
was legit.
attached.
That
Nah,
was
Nick was
legit.
just attached.
You call me DEI, Nick?
Yeah, we just included you for technicality to make it compliant.
Make him fit in.
Make that
Yeah.
my nickname. I like that. Let's keep that rolling. And we have new Nick and DEI Nick in this league.
New Nick, I'm coming for you.
All right, new Nick. You've been warned. Guys, have a great night. Thanks again for joining. Be safe.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Brendan, accept my